For a while, it seemed there was nothing new on the horizon. Announcing the latest achievement in home entertainment, the power of sight, video, the power of sound, MTV Music Television.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Hullabaloo. Assuming no delays, the original upload date of this video you're watching coincides with the 40th anniversary of music television MTV, a channel that many of us weren't even able to watch until several years later. Today we'll take a quick look at the sudden explosion of music videos in the early 80s and how those of us without cable managed to survive. The idea behind marrying visuals to popular music goes back as far as the 1920s, when radio pioneer Lee DeForest demonstrated his new phonofilm process of optically recording sound onto film. With the 1940s came soundies, a coin-operated machine often found in bars and clubs, playing a constantly rotating selection of 3-minute musical clips.
You put me down for another.
In 1964, the Scopatone video jukebox was imported over from France with the help of Debbie Reynolds' production company. The videos were pure 60s camp, not to mention unabashedly provocative. But noticeably absent were acts from the psychedelic rock genre, as well as growingly popular British acts like the Beatles. Not that it mattered, the wider reach of television had proven a more valuable outlet for music promotion, especially when it was quicker and cheaper for record labels to film a low-budget performance video to air internationally rather than having the talent travel thousands of miles for a 5-minute live appearance. The Monkees and their television antics seemed to be the prototype of what we would come to recognize as a music video. But it was one member in particular who took those ideas and improved upon them. In 1977, at the behest of his record company, Michael Nesmith created a promotional video for his single, Rio. But instead of the traditional behind-the-mic lip-sync performance, Nesmith decided to experiment with different colorful sets and exotic costumes. He and director Bill Deere realized that they could, as they put it, use the music to create continuity through otherwise discontinuous images. Nesmith and Deere would package a few more of these music clips along with some sketch comedy into a video compilation called Elephant Parts. The collection would go on to win the first Video of the Year Grammy Award in 1981. Michael Nesmith would eventually conceive the novel idea of a television program dedicated to showcasing the best of these record company promotional clips. John Lack, COO of Warner Amex Satellite Entertainment and self-proclaimed music fan, was intrigued by the concept. Lack decided to test it out on one of his cable channels that appealed to a younger demographic. The resulting show, Pop Clips, aired on the Kids Network from late 1980 to early 1981. According to Lack, the response was overwhelmingly positive. Always looking to create special interest channels for cable and satellite subscribers, Lack decided to expand the half-hour show to an entire 24-hour network. Nesmith, unimpressed with the proposed format changes, just took payment for his idea and left Lack and his team to launch the new network on their own. Robert Pittman, who was offered the job of CEO, would create the new network's format, having himself tested out the formula as host of Album Tracks, a 15-minute music video show that aired on NBC in 1978. The executives secured financing from both Warner Communications and American Express to help launch the channel. This funding came with a promise that the content would be provided free of charge from record companies, which was a lofty promise considering many of them balked at the idea of giving free content to a company co-owned by one of their biggest competitors. Executive producer Sue Steinberg would be responsible for hiring the original video jockeys, or VJs. Creative director Fred Seibert would oversee both the creation of the iconic logo by Manhattan Design, as well as incorporating NASA moon landing footage into the channel's branding. Musician and producer Jonathan Elias would compose the famous hard rock Man on the Moon music that would become the channel's official theme.
Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll.
Armed with barely 100 or so videos in their collection, MTV launched at 12 a.m. on August 1st, 1981. The launch wasn't without hiccups. Pre-taped segments aired out of order. There were frequent stretches of dead air as technicians loaded VCRs in real time, And they were perhaps more Rod Stewart videos than any human could ever possibly want or need. But the only people who got to see this wonderful chaos lived in New Jersey or some rural parts of the Midwest.
Come on out here, Alan. Don't be shy. I'll tell you about this right now. We're still tying the shoes. We have Friday night. Did you hear?
I'm taking my shoes off.
MTV was on the verge of failure for the better part of the first year. Advertisers saw no value in supporting a channel that no one was watching. Record companies didn't see why they had to start budgeting for videos that they just gave away for free. And cable operators had no interest in catering to music fans, especially in parts of the country where rock and roll was still seen as amoral. However, 3 words and 1 initialism would turn things around. And while legendary ad man George Lois conceived the idea of this new campaign, he had a little help from Marky Maypo. When George Lois's ad agency took over the Maypo account in 1966, he decided to reuse that popular catchphrase, but instead using sports celebrities on the verge of tears.
I want my Maypo.
Lois's idea was to recycle his Maypo campaign, replacing the oatmeal name with MTV and replacing the sports figures with Mick Jagger. Except preferably not crying. Luckily, MTV's vice president of programming, Les Garland, had an assistant who previously worked with the Rolling Stones. She was able to set up a meeting between Jagger and Garland. With some convincing and the payment of exactly $1, Jagger agreed to utter the phrase,
I want my MTV.
With authentication from the Rolling Stones frontman, MTV was able to secure endorsements from other big-name artists like David Bowie, Pat Benatar, Pete Townsend, and the Police.
I want my MTV!
The resulting ad campaign was a resounding success. The local cable companies were so inundated with calls that they had little choice but to add the struggling music station to their lineup. Seemingly overnight, MTV became a household name. With the style and fashion of the 80s music videos spilling over into pop culture, it's easy to forget that a lot of people still didn't have MTV in those early years. But not to worry, we didn't miss out on the music video revolution. The good men and women working behind the scenes in old-fashioned over-the-air broadcasting would not let MTV have all the fun.
It's Top 40 Videos.
Our first show is Top 40 Videos, a syndicated music video show from Hunt Jaffe Productions that began airing in 1982. Presentation-wise, there's little that stands out. Off-the-shelf graphics, no set, and a title that's so incredibly generic it's next to impossible to Google.
They've opened for Heart, Sammy Hagar, and Kiss, doing quite well on their own. Here's Night Ranger with Sister Christian.
For the majority of its run, videos were introduced by off-screen host Kenny Noble. The show would occasionally have celebrity guest hosts, albeit voice only.
Here she is losing her self-control.
Top 40 Videos was generally good about playing the full clip without interruption. That is, unless it was the last video of the episode. Then you'd have to watch whatever they were able to fit in the time that was left with the production credits and Kenny's outro inconveniencing your viewing pleasure. I perceived there was some sort of budgetary decline as the years went on, simply based on the quality of their chyrons. Initially, it was 3 lines of 2-color text, each line rolling in from different parts of the screen. Within a year or two, the lower thirds were simplistic pink or blue text with no animation. Eventually, it was just simple, generic character generator text you'd find over on public access. Well, you would if you had cable, that is.
Here's your hottest clip of the day. It's music time.
Number 25. It's music time. It stinks and it's hot.
Moving on to another hard-to-Google title, we have Hot, a syndicated video show that aired 5 days a week, typically following the afternoon cartoons. Hot had the benefit of longtime television producer Bob Banner, whose extensive resume includes The Carol Burnett Show, Candid Camera, Solid Gold, and Star Search. With a set decorated by someone with an extreme mid-80s fetish, the good looks and relaxed demeanor of host Claude Mann, and hip graphics that preceded the videos, Hot was clearly trying to stand out in the sea of MTV-inspired programs. On top of all that, Hot had a countdown format that didn't follow the Billboard charts. Rather, they had viewers send in submissions along with pictures of themselves to help determine the Hot 30. If viewers were lucky, their pictures along with their full name, city, and state would go on air so the graphics team could scribble all over it for a corny joke.
And Darren Wolf of Newport, California wants, you guessed it, to look just like Weird Al.
That extra pizzazz, as well as random passerby video introduction montages that always ends on the word hot, natch.
Number 11!
Don't walk away! Rick Springfield and he's hot!
Typically comes at the expense of the time allotted to the actual music clip, with intros skipped or endings cut short. Based on what I've seen, Hot really only lasted that 1 year in 1984. But you can argue that its format was the inspiration for MTV's Total Request Live 14 years later. Maybe?
It occurred to me, having watched MTV over the last few months, that it's a solid enterprise and it's got a lot going for it. I'm just floored by the fact that there's so few black artists featured on it. Why is that?
As much as us aging Gen Xers like to romanticize the early days of MTV, it's hard to ignore the issues that plagued the network's early days. Mainly their lack of black artists. The station modeled itself after album-oriented rock at first, which was 99% white. It reportedly took a threat from CBS Records president Walter Yetnikoff to pull all their content just to get Michael Jackson's Billie Jean on the network. Luckily, New York Hot Tracks had no issue picking up the ball MTV dropped.
This is New York Hot Tracks, New York's #1 video music show.
The show premiered on July 22nd, 1983 with original host Carlos De Jesus. De Jesus was best known in New York City as a DJ and later program director for 92.3 WKTU. He was highly influential in bringing the disco sound out of the clubs and onto the radios. Later, his station would be one of the first in the country to play a rap record, specifically Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight.
Where are we anyway?
We're at the Copacabana. This is Cyndi Lauper.
In the dressing room?
We're in the dressing room at the Copacabana, Cyndi.
All right, fine.
All right, fine. How you doing? Welcome to Hot Tracks.
Every week, an active New York City club would serve as the backdrop for De Jesus, creating an energetic atmosphere that wasn't easily replicated within the confines of a studio. Even the video chyrons were bold and energetic, complementing the liveliness of the show's dance club setting. Besides showcasing new and popular clips, New York Hot Tracks was also mindful to sprinkle in some older videos by influential artists. And while the show featured plenty of R&B, dance, and hip-hop tracks, they'd also throw in some pop and new wave that wouldn't be out of place on a DJ's turntable, for the most part. On a technical note, as multi-channel television sound was still a couple of years away, New York Hot Tracks would simulcast its audio stream on a local FM radio station for true stereo sound. In my market, the audio played on, fittingly, 92.3 WKTU FM. It started as a local New York show but would soon expand to over 110 markets around the country. And as it exposed many viewers to the hip-hop, dance, and R&B sounds they may never have otherwise heard, New York Hot Tracks paved the way for the rise of these genres in popular culture years later. The show lasted until 1989, but for some fans, it really ended when Carlos De Jesus left in 1986. While I understand that YouTube is a global service, I couldn't help but throw in a few entries that were more or less exclusive to the New York metropolitan area. Fun fact, New York City used to own a television station, WNYC Channel 31. It would air programming from WNET, later PBS, in addition to self-produced educational programming and news and announcements regarding city affairs. And, starting in 1983, Video Music Box. Created and hosted by Ralph McDaniels and Lionel C. Martin, the hour-long program initially focused on several genres of music until finding its niche showcasing the videos of up-and-coming rap and R&B artists.
Yo, it goes something like this. It's not Hot Tracks or U68. It's a video show that we think is great. Fresh out the pack from 8 to 9. Video Music Box. It will blow your mind.
Video Music Box was cited as an important contributor to the growth of hip-hop culture in America.
You know, you guys have been instrumental in my career in helping me take it to the next level. The timeline, my life, Video Music Box. Video Music Box aired on WNYC until 1996, when the network was sold off to a private company. The show then moved to WNYE TV, Channel 25, where it is still airing as of the date of this upload.
Moving back to VHF territory, we have WOR Channel 9. In 1984, the network decided to get in on the music video craze with their show entitled WOR Channel 9's Great Record Album Collection, or its alternate and way simpler title, Rock 9 Videos. I suppose it's incredibly hard to name these shows when you're on a tight deadline.
Z100 in New York City. Let's kick it off with singer, dancer, performer, the lovely and talented Madonna. This is the Borderline song.
Where this show differed from the other syndicated music video shows was its local flavor. Every week, a different New York City DJ would host the video clips. Special mention must be given for Rock 9 Video's uniquely elaborate way of showing the video credits, with text that rotates on an illustration of a vinyl record. Certainly eye-catching, even if it did take up a large chunk of screen real estate.
WWHT, Channel 68 Newark.
Moving back way down the dial to Channel 68, we have Newark-based WWHT, the original home of over-the-air pay television service Wometco Home Theater, commonly referred to as WHT. In the wake of dwindling subscriber numbers, the service ceased operations in 1985. Without that sweet scrambled content, station manager Steve Leeds would program a dedicated music video channel that finally gave MTV-style programming to local viewers still stuck in the antenna age. The station would be known as U68. Launched in June of 1985, U68 had plenty of music-related programming for those who were able to pick up that UHF signal.
Hi, this is Melissa Manchester, and now everybody in Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, New Jersey, Southern Connecticut, and Long Island can enjoy stereo music video. It's free!
Their format appeared to be a nice mixture of popular artists from various genres, along with more obscure videos from unsigned or small label acts.
Hi, this is Robin Hitchcock. I just dropped into U68 like I usually do on Wednesday evenings.
They even aired episodes of Top 40 Videos, which was a good way of playing content they may have not otherwise had access to on Hunt Jaffe Productions' dime. Sadly, the network was short-lived. The stations owned by Wometco, along with many other UHF stations around the country, was sold off to the Home Shopping Network at the end of 1986. Fans looking for music would tune in, only to find on-air salespeople talking to shut-ins about tacky household goods while blaring bicycle horns. On a personal note, I would do an entire video around U68 if I had access to more material. But for now, I must move away from the local New York scene and move on to one last national program. The NBC late night schedule during the 70s and 80s were quite unique. Johnny Carson's Tonight Show was fairly consistent, airing at 11:30 p.m. 5 nights a week. Immediately after Carson was Tom Schneider's Tomorrow Show, until 1982 when David Letterman's Late Night took over. However, their shows only aired Monday through Thursday, leaving the Friday late night slot open. From 1973 to 1981, that slot was filled by Bob Sugarman's Midnight Special, a musical variety show renowned for showcasing live musical performances. Midnight Special was canceled when its producer, Dick Ebersol, took over the reins of Saturday Night Live to stave off cancellation after its lackluster 6th season. To fill the now open time slot, NBC picked up SCTV Network 90 as the quick and inexpensive option. Despite the show's popularity with fans and critics, NBC canceled it after 2 years to make room for a new show Ebersol was developing. Ebersol wanted to bring back the Friday Night Music Show. Seeing the popularity but lack of availability of MTV, he decided that music videos were the logical choice for the new show. And on July 29, 1983, Friday Night Videos premiered.
For many of you, Friday Night Videos will be your first experience with music video. A new form allowing you to see what in the past you could only hear.
Like all the others, Friday Night Video's premise was quite simple. Play the popular promo clips of the day. But Ebersol's experience in late-night programming and the healthy budget of a major network gave this show a lot more polish than most of its competitors. The opening itself was something to behold, with its sharp neon animation showing a man tied to what appears to be an automatic record stacking spindle that busts through the dude's optic nerves to form the logo. By the way, the animation of Friday Night Videos was produced by Annabelle Jankel and Rocky Morton through their UK production company, Cucumber Studios. In addition to commercial and TV intros, they've worked on music videos for Tom Tom Club, The Talking Heads, Donald Fagen, and many more. Their collaboration with Elvis Costello for his 1978 single Accidents Will Happen may very well be the first instance of CGI in a music video. Cucumber Studios' contributions to Friday Night Videos would earn them an Emmy Award in 1985. Jankel and Morton would go on to co-create the character of Max Headroom that same year. Unfortunately, the duo would also go on to co-direct the live-action adaptation of Super Mario Bros. In 1993. And I don't exactly know if Cucumber Studios were responsible for the artist title chyron they used, but it certainly was just as stylish. It was simple and unobtrusive, while still managing to look like some futuristic space alien long division.
What's happening? I'm Morris Day, and this is my video for Jungle Love.
With a 90-minute runtime, Friday Night Videos was able to do more than just throw out a bunch of music promo clips. They'd also air what they called private reels, a one-sided interview with a popular act.
You can't really hold up a stagecoach in the middle of sort of London, you know.
In its early years, Friday Night Videos would also pit two popular music videos against each other in a battle they called Video Vote. Viewers would call a 900 number to cast a vote for their favorite of the two clips. While it did cost 50 cents to call, it was free if you used your friend's phone. Like New York Hot Tracks, NBC would also simulcast the program on a local FM station. Even with all of NBC's high-budget glitter and Cucumber's animation and the musicians talking about themselves, it was still mostly a music video show. And most viewers wouldn't have it any other way. Unfortunately, as music videos' novelty began to fade, drastic measures were taken.
Well, I'm ready for something by El DeBarge.
Isn't that one of Magellan's old ships? Who's Johnny?
Starting in late 1985, NBC brought in celebrities to do much of the heavy lifting. And while Friday Night Videos had been fairly good at showing these music videos in their entirety, more or less, the addition of these rotating on-screen hosts meant that significant portions of these clips were often sacrificed to give them more screen time. Who needs to see their favorite video when they could watch Tootie and Natalie have a conversation instead? In the summer of 1987, Letterman expanded to 5 nights a week, pushing Friday Night Videos to the 1:30 time slot and cutting it down to 1 hour.
Tonight on Friday Night, it's Memorial Day with music by Bryan Adams, Bruce Springsteen, Soul for Real, Portrait, and John B. with Babyface.
The show was renamed Friday Night in 1994, mixing in more general entertainment pieces along with the music. After another name change in 2001 to Late Friday with the music content eliminated altogether, it was cancelled shortly thereafter. Not that it mattered. By that time, cable television had long already exploded in subscriber numbers, with MTV reaching a large number of these households. Of course, there's the common complaint today that MTV turned its back on the very thing that made it successful in the first place. It may have started when they realized sticking a bunch of cynical young adults in a loft together for the purposes of manufacturing drama is better for ratings than overly polished record company promotional material. And sure, today we could pull up literally any music video we want at any time thanks to these internet video streaming sites. But there's something missing. The videos are the same, sure, but there's a noticeable absence of that friendly personality that brought some cohesion to all the clips. Someone on the other end who was quick to add some context, anecdote, or information to what's being played. Someone who is excited to introduce you to something new or eager to reacquaint you with a classic from years past. Someone who is unmistakably a music fan, sharing their passion with the viewers. So I don't believe these complainers really miss the music videos. They just miss MTV giving a shit about music at all. Just to let you know, yes, I am aware there are plenty of other music video shows from the 80s I did not cover. America's Top 10 with Casey Kasem was a major omission, as was the short-lived ABC Rocks, the other, less successful major network music video show. Even Solid Gold started throwing in some music videos to supplement its regular music variety format, and I'm sure countless others. If you have any that you remembered from back in the day, don't be shy. Share it with us in the comment section. In the meantime, this was Dave for TV Games. Keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars.
teacher's pet once you get to know them.